Thanks to those of you who stayed. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. I'm here today to tell you a story. The story about how I discovered in myself leadership tools that I didn't really know I had and that I didn't really know I needed until I took this new role as director of the Guatemalan Institute of Tourism. The tool that I found is courage. And I found that leading with bravery is what transforms cultures. So when I arrived at INGUAT about 1.5 years ago, I inherited a culture of fear. INGUAT is an institution that has been around for about 40 years. It's in charge of making sure that the tourism sector operates in an efficient way, that the country is well communicated, and that there are good relations between the private sector and the public sector in the field. But what I found at INGUAT was people who were afraid of doing that, people who were afraid of spending money, people who were afraid of making mistakes, people who were afraid of accountability, and people who were afraid of innovating because they were afraid of change. And that fear had a price. What I found was that there was a lot of money that was not spent. One example is that the Department of Product Development in years past had only executed 3% of a budget of 47 million quetzales. The money was just sitting in the bank account. And I don't know what I just did. I never know how to work these things. But, so we decided that we had to change the mindset, and what I decided to do was to focus on the fear-based actions that people were taking. We decided that we needed to set that tone from the top. I had to tell people that if we work within a framework of the law and of integrity, one can be creative and one can find creative ways of spending public resources to improve tourism, to improve the country's image. I encouraged risk-taking. Every person in the Guatemalan Institute of Tourism was afraid of risk. And I said to them, it's okay to take risks. We're protected. As long as we're doing things within the rule of law, we're protected. Don't be afraid. I reframed the concept of accountability. Accountability not as a means of punishment, but as a vehicle for change, for growth. And that, of course, required a lot of trust, building trust within the team. I had to establish my credentials as a public servant. I had never been in public office before. A lot of people were saying, what is this journalist, war correspondent doing, leading a 400-person public institution? So I had to build trust, and I did that with actions. Yeah. I think I have a magnetic. Yeah. So how do we do that? We approached this culture change by focusing on 3 areas of INGUAT's actions: investment, communication, and innovation. In terms of investments, we had to shift a mindset. People were used to saving money. People used to think that to be good at what they were doing in government, they had to save money. They thought that that was good. My approach was no. If you have public funds, they will do nothing if they're sitting in a bank. We have to invest those. We have to put those out into the economy. We have to invest in infrastructure, in highways, in hotels, in communication. So that was a very fundamental shift in the way people approached handling their budgets. And so we've gone from departments executing only 3% to departments executing more than 80% of their budgets. I also empowered teams to make their own bold decisions, to feel more confident about what they were doing, to feel that they had the power to make decisions that would actually change things. And we started to promote the investment in more infrastructure, heavily invested in marketing, and also working very closely with local partners, with communities, to make sure that we were creating authentic tourism products, because what Guatemala has and what differentiates Guatemala from other destinations in the region is our authenticity. an authenticity that comes from 3,000 years of history, from a vibrant modern indigenous culture. But their stories can only be told if they tell us what stories they want to be told. So that involved another action that I think is coming up. These are some examples of the strategic investments that we have done. A lot of communication. We decided to invest heavily in creating content for television and streaming services. One example is True Guatemala. It's a 6-episode documentary series that will be airing on one of the major streaming platforms starting next month, produced by Pablo Lopez and his team. I don't know if he's here or not, but a fantastic and very creative production team. I think we have an example of that. Yeah. Play.
Guatemala, a whisper of the soul. She transforms those who traverse her. In this, the living heart of Mayan culture, her paths draw us near to her essence, to her people, who gaze towards the future, reinventing themselves without forsaking their origins. Welcome to a place where every experience leaves a deep imprint. Reminding you that once you know it, you will never be the same. I'm Harris Whitbeck, director of the Guatemalan Tourism Institute. And at heart, I've always been a storyteller. Join me on a journey through True Guatemala.
Thank you. So that series will start airing on one of the major streaming platforms. I don't know if I can tell you which one it is, so I better not. I don't want to get into trouble. But it will be seen around the world. And this is something that is a very, very powerful tool to tell the story about Guatemala. We've also decided to work with other television producers who are already on streaming platforms. And we approached Phil Rosenthal. Everybody knows somebody, Feed Phil. He was in, it took about a good year to get in touch with them, but they finally answered, and we said, we would like to pay for you to come and do a full episode about Guatemala in the country. They shot the episode about 6 months ago, maybe, and then it started airing about 2 months ago. This is a short clip of that.
Hello, my friends, this is Phil, and I just want to say a couple words about one of my favorite places I've ever been, Guatemala. I can't believe how beautiful that country is. I can't believe I didn't get there until we made our episode there. I love Guatemala City. I love Antigua very much. And I just love the food was so delicious. The tortillas, the chocolate, the coffee. Everything that comes from the ground in Guatemala is absolutely delicious. And my favorite thing from there are the people and the friends I've made. So thank you for being so warm and gracious to me and the crew. We love you and we can't wait to come back. Thank you.
Dale play al episodio 8, el más delicioso de Somebody Feed Phil, ya disponible en Netflix.
So another example of strategic investment that it took a lot of convincing some of the people who would tell me that can't be done. And I was like, don't tell me it can't be done. Tell me you're going to try to find a way to make it happen before you tell me it can't be done. Latin America's 50 best restaurants. This week we're going to be announcing that the award ceremony for this very important global award is going to take place here in Antigua, Guatemala in November and December of this year. That is going to bring to Guatemala at least 50 of the best chefs in Latin America, and it's going to bring food writers, food critics, journalists, travel writers who will be here not only for this award, but we're going to send them all over the country so that they can experience what we can offer and they can help us tell our story to the world. Another method that we're using that's also the use of creativity and like not being afraid of having an idea, but just putting it out there and see if it works, is using textiles and craftsmanship to help tell our story. We created a traveling exhibit which represents the Tikal Grand Jaguar Temple of Tikal, made out of textiles. This exhibit has been in Madrid, Milan, Berlin. It's currently in Paris. Will be in Mexico City in November, and next year will be in Taipei, Washington D.C., and I was just told this morning, Istanbul. This exhibit allows a fusion of traditional Guatemalan textiles and contemporary art and contemporary design to come together and to help tell our story. But it's telling our story not only in the traditional travel magazines, it's also putting Guatemala on the pages of Architectural Digest, of El Decor, of all of these other magazines that are giving us access to a different kind of audience. And then in terms of communicating, I'm a journalist. I will always be a journalist. And so obviously I can't approach handling tourism for Guatemala if I don't do it by communicating. Everything is about communicating. And the first premise there, again, was our communication as a country with the private sector and with the country as a whole had to be absolutely open, honest, and transparent. We started producing strategic updates with key economic indicators and key performance indicators of the tourism sector with the private sector, to hotel owners, to tour operators, to restaurant owners, so that they know what the travel trends are, what kind of visitor wants to come to Guatemala, how long his decision-making process is, how much money they want to spend, where they want to spend it. That type of data has to be accessible to everybody. We acquired big data for the first time, but we didn't acquire it for ourselves. We acquired it to share it with the sector because INGUAT is about, it's about being a bridge between the private sector and economic opportunities. So, and again, that was a change that came from just thinking differently. We started an honest dialogue with the press, with the members of Congress, with other members of government, and we made sure that all of our storytelling was absolutely clear, easy to digest, and very visually oriented, of course. And then I mentioned active listening before. INGUAT has created the National Tourism Policy, La Política Pública de Turismo, and the Sustainable Tourism Master Plan. I had the luck of having to create the master plan for the next 10 years. And we decided to do it differently. We decided that the master plan had to be built by the people in the sector. We didn't want to bring in a consultant to tell us what that plan should be. We wanted to listen to people and have them tell us how it should be done. So it's an initiative led by Ivan Azurdia. I don't know if he's still around. Ivan, thank you for being here. Ivan is the Director of Product Development, and he led a whole series of community workshops all around the country where indigenous leaders, small hotel operators, tour operators, just everyday citizens would tell us what they felt had to be in this master plan. So this is the first of its kind in the world. And many countries in Latin America are now coming to us, asking us to apply this model to create new tourism master plans. So when you spend with courage, you get to do fun things. And I was saying this morning that there's nothing better than being in a position where you can have an idea and then actually having the power and the money to do it. I mean, how cool is that? And as you see, we've put Guatemala on the streets of Paris. And all of this communication has led to massive growth. In 2024, we saw a 15% increase in the arrivals of international visitors to Guatemala. And in the first 6 months of 2025, that increase is 8%, so we expect that to be sustained. That's proof that we're doing something right. That has sparked more interest from international airlines. We have Air Canada flying starting in October. Wingo from Bogota, Frontier from Houston and Dallas just announced new flights. JetBlue, American, and Avianca are also opening new routes between the United States and Guatemala. And then, of course, we can tell the story about Guatemala, we can bring the people to Guatemala, but then they need to have a good experience while they're here. And that's where product development comes in. So far this year, we've put more than 430 signage projects all across the country. And Ivan's team is heading more than 80 infrastructure projects nationwide. Many of those projects require a lot of planning, and so we might not see the end of those projects, but somebody has to start them. So that's what we're doing. Quickly, we've gotten a lot of international awards that we're very proud of. Guatemala was named the best international destination of the year by Condé Nast. Luxury Lab Global named us also the international luxury destination. Luxury not in infrastructure, but luxury in what we can offer as a country, in authenticity. And National Geographic also named Antigua one of the best destinations in the world to travel to. So, all of this happened because we changed the culture. We went from paralysis to purpose, which led to more initiatives, to more ideas, and to more action. What I've learned in this year and a half is that leadership is not about the absence of fear, it's about acting in spite of it. It's not about finding perfection, it's about finding it and looking for it with purpose. And it's not about control, it's about empowerment. Because at the end of the day, fear is contagious, but so is courage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.